Hello and welcome to another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz. And in this episode, you get to meet Mike Goldstein. And he's all about dating. And I'm really excited to bring him to you because he has a lot of excitement and emotion about dating. I've interviewed him before, and we're going to talk about understanding men so they will worship you. But first, let's bring on Mike. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Mia. Thanks for
Hi.
having me on the show.
It's good to have you here. We did this, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really great. It was nice to bring you to my audience. So I'm glad you're here. Can you share with us a little bit about your history? What brought you into being a dating coach? And obviously, you enjoy it very much. You've been here for a while.
Oh, this is my whole life, Mia. When I was 16, I was fat. I had braces and I had glasses, and no woman wanted to talk to me. And all I wanted was a woman to talk to me. So that started the journey where I started trying to figure out how women worked so they would actually want to talk to me. And fast forward, in my 20s, I fell in love, and I thought I was going to marry this one. But unfortunately, she cheated on me with one of my close friends. And so that continued my journey where I was crying my eyes out for 3 months, finally picked myself up and realized, Mia, I don't understand women at all. So then that led me to reading every book on how women work, how men work, how dating works, how relationships work, how online dating works. So fast forward, I picked up an online dating methodology, started training or helping people with online dating, got 7 people married, started a company. Then that was so successful, it got me on the Today Show. And then fast forward, Match.com, OkCupid, Harmony, we're all like, how the heck are you getting so many people into relationships? No one's as successful. So I started partnering with them, using their data. And then since then, we've just been getting 83% of folks into relationships. We've been helping people that are already in relationships make it better. And it's been quite the ride.
That sounds exciting. It does. I've been in this business probably about 12 years, and I have 40 people married. But when you said 7, I was like, whoa, good for you, because it's a beautiful journey to watch them in the beginning coming to you and then feel comfortable enough and settle into a relationship and then have it go to the altar. It's really beautiful, isn't it? So we want to understand about this male-female relationship. It can be difficult for men, it can be difficult for women. So let's talk about how we can get men to worship us. I giggle because, all women want that, and men want, women to pay attention to them. It's funny because we both want the same things. We're kind of like looking through a mirror at each other and going, hi, how are you? We're posturing. So lay this on us.
So how do we get a man to, what's the question?
Okay, well, actually, I didn't give you a question. I'm just so excited about the topic.
I love it.
I want to know it all, please. You're like, then take a course from me. Okay, so let's talk about what men want. And then I do want to ask you, how can we get a man to worship us? So first I'm going to ask you what men want. And I think that this will probably go a little bit longer because this is fun. So what do men want?
Yeah, I just want to keep it simple. Because we could spend about 3 hours talking about what men want. But let's talk about the high overarching principle that everyone can use right now. And if you use this as your guiding frame and this as your framework, a lot of other things will fall into place. They just want to have fun. What was that song? Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
It should be about guys too. Guys just want to feel like they're having fun. So imagine date 1 where they can come home and be like, man, I just had a blast with Mia. This was the most fun date I've ever been on. And then imagine when they can say 10 years later, my wife is freaking fun. I'm having a blast with her. Mm-hmm. So you're like, all right, what do I do with that practically? Well, practically, figure out what you enjoy doing. And everyone watching this is like, I know what I like doing. Cool. Then go find a man who likes the same stuff. And then also ask him, what do you enjoy doing? What's fun for you? And if it all lines up, then go do those activities together and then have a blast together. And all throughout that, then, make sure your values are aligned. Make sure you're confident enough to be able to hold some eye contact here and there so you can build some sexual tension.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you live close together. And once all that stuff's aligned, you guys can have a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. The living close together, since we do online dating so much, the population, the living close together, I think is really primary. I've watched, through clients, and I've watched when I was dating years ago. It almost seems like the ones that choose women specifically who live far away have a commitment issue. I mean, we all have our own, and same with the women, we all have our own avoidance or, whatever style of attachment we are. But what do you think about these? Because you brought it up about living close. Are they successful relationships when they're an hour or more away?
It's so funny you bring up that like avoidant. I have one of my like best friends is like, man, I would be the happiest man in the world if I could find someone that lives like 2 hours away, so I don't need to see them that much. He's like,
I have his number. Yeah. I mean, I understand his thoughts. Yeah.
He's like, I've got this schedule where he like wakes up at like 4 a.m, goes to work, like hits the gym, comes home, goes to bed, and this is Monday through Friday. And then the weekend, he's like, I got to get my groceries. I got to cook my meals for the weekend. And he's just so regimented, like he's a military man almost, but he's not. And so then he's like, well, then I could see her like, one day on the weekend, and she would understand my schedule. It would make sense because she lives 2 hours away. But in reality, he doesn't realize, because he's had nothing but not great relationships, that if he actually knew what an amazing relationship looked like and what an amazing woman was that understood his schedule and was fun and actually accepted him for who he is, he'd want to be around her a lot more, because all of a sudden he'd be like, whoa, she gets my schedule. She's accepting of it. She wants to be, when I'm available, she wants to be a part of it. So to answer your question long-winded, if you could have an amazing relationship, you're going to want to be together a good amount of the time and still have your separate lives. But no, stop dating people that are far away.
Yeah.
Our good friend John Gray said there is 300,000 soulmates for every person. So we'll stop living in this scarcity mindset that all the men are gone, all the good men are gone. It's just not true. There's good men left and right, and go find them and go and do it. If you can, if you live in a very rural, then yes, you got to go further. But if you're near a major city, come on, like he's within 5, 10, 25 miles. It should be no problem.
And I believe that there's actually more than 300,000, because if we take even 5% of the population, literally, at 7 billion, that's 350 million. So we have the opportunity, whether it's 300,000 or 350 million, we have the opportunity, right? Get rid of the scarcity, the lack, and the fear here. We have the opportunity to meet our match a couple times over. But just stick to one, people.
Absolutely. I mean, you can get it done for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's, how do you tell if a man wants you? How do you tell if a man wants you without nagging you? I mean, we don't want to have, without, how women go after men, they're texting them, hi, how are you? And this and that. Isn't it pretty clear that if a man isn't chasing you down, he's not interested, for the most part, isn't it? Because men are hunters.
Mm-hmm.
And they go after what they want. Yeah. I think that that's the biggest, it's almost the most difficult for a woman to grasp her head around. But that is like the number one tail all sign that you could say, is he chasing you around? Is he texting you? Is he calling you? Is he coming over? Is he dating you? Is he loving you?
Spot on.
Yeah. Sorry, I spoke it and I answered it. I like Mike. He's so fun. This is very fun. Okay. Now, why do men pull away? I mean, that makes sense too, but I'll be quiet this time.
Sounds good. So when you say why do men pull away, do you want to talk about more like in the early stages of dating or in a relationship, or both?
Let's first talk about the early stages, because that's once people are actually into hopefully their relationship, they can see why their mate is pulling away. But let's talk about the early stages.
Okay. Early stages of dating, you already answered it. If he's pulling away, he's probably not that into you. On a very rare case, something crazy happens, a death in the family, he's sick or work. But realistically, early stages, not interested. If he does happen to show up, you better be nice, but put him through the ringer. Like, hey, it's good to hear from you. But, you know, when I'm in a relationship, people usually reach out to me a little more frequently. So what the heck happened?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get curious if you want to, if you're willing to give him a chance, be like, so what, you know, where were you? And see if it's reasonable. But ultimately, you know, in the early stages, if he's available for dating, he should be showing up, right?
Exactly. And this is the part for women, you know, where they become sad or mystified that a man isn't around. It's really hard, I think, for a woman to accept that somebody's just not interested in them. It's interesting, the dichotomy between the men and the women, because men set the tone, but yet we also hear that women have more of an opportunity than men do. Do you believe that in dating?
So you're saying, wait, women
Okay.
have...
So men are the hunters, right? They're the ones that come out. But I've also heard from a lot of men saying that women have more opportunities to find their right match than men do. Do you think that that's because the men are after? Why do you think that is?
So first of all, I think we all have an equal opportunity. Like if you have eyes, ears, mouth, and you can function, you have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, obviously it's easier for folks, whether it's men or women that are considered physically good looking, they're going to have more opportunities. But realistically, I don't care if you're a 0 or a 10 on an attractiveness scale. It's all equal because you all have things to deal with. Everyone has problems. Like maybe the good looking guy, you know, I've heard this before. Now that I'm in LA, he's like, all women just want to sleep with me. No one takes me seriously. This is actually a real problem.
Really?
It is. Funny as it may sound. But everyone has their own problems and everyone has their own opportunity. It's the folks that either spend a shitload of time researching how to optimize their process that win, or it's the folks that hire someone that really knows how to do stuff and then they teach them that get more opportunity. But also I would say with women, when it comes to online dating, they can be the hunter. And some of the women don't realize that. Like they can send a ton of messages. And on an advantage standpoint, men typically do better when they create a curated message where it's specific to like, you know, the things, for example, Mia's interested in. So she's like, ooh, this person read my profile. This makes sense. A woman, on the other hand, she can do a copy and paste and send it to a guy and send it to 50 of them in 20 minutes and then do research on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Men can't get away with that. So women do have an advantage when they have a good strategy and then know what to do behind that, have the right profile, have the right pictures. But everyone can find their own competitive advantage if they have the right process. Does that make sense?
It does. It was very well spoken. And, you know, we kept putting Mia in this, and I just have to tell you guys, you know, I'm going to get in trouble if we keep putting Mia in the dating seat here for advice. My husband's going to watch this and say, why are you doing that?
Hypothetical Mia.
That's right. Hypothetical Mia. Somebody's got to sit in the seat, everyone, and it's fun. So, you know, women really want, so going back to the topic of the show, how to make men worship you. Women really want, there is this mystery between men and women. And I know that John Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, is very helpful. But really in today's society, we have to dig deep. We have to dig into the, you know, the attachment styles. We have to dig into the love languages. There's so much that it would behoove people to understand because it makes things smooth. So what makes, you know, and some men just don't want to worship women, they want to love them, but they don't want to put them on a pedestal. So what will make This is the one this is the one I want to know. What makes a man worship us?
Ah, that's such a great question.
It's like, why did you ask me that?
So I think like to go at a very advanced level, I created an acronym for this. And if you can pace me, I'll go through each letter and we can talk between each one. So it's 4 things. So pace me. It's you got to nab a guy. So you're going to nab him. N-A-A-B.
Okay.
So the first one, N, is you got to make him feel needed. In today's society, men, like, they're kind of at the wayside at this point. Like, if you think about it, 100 years ago, the guy got to go to work, the woman got to stay home with the kids, and then he came home and it's like, I'm providing. I got the money. I brought the bread. I brought the food that's cooked, the kids, sending them to college or whatever. I did that. Now women are all in the workforce. Many of them are making more money than the guys, and they can do everything themselves. So men's like, what about me? And now men need a new skill set, first of all, to fill this. But the new need is emotional support, is, emotionally providing. And let me give you an example, like on a first date. Maybe you live in a cold environment and you're in a jacket. It's the wintertime. Say, hey, would you help me with my jacket? And the guy now gets to take it off. Well, he feels needed. He's like, oh, I got to do something. Or you're at a coffee shop and you say, hey, Mike, would you mind grabbing me the sugar? And I go get the sugar. And then the next part, the A in NAB, is appreciation. And you go, whoa, you're such a gentleman. Like, thank you for helping me with my jacket. Like, man, no one does that anymore. Like, thank you. And so the key here is you make him feel needed. But then the appreciation, if what he did is, it's pretty simple, took a jacket off, you make the appreciation just a little bit more valuable than what he did. And he's like, wait a second. I do this little task. I get appreciation that's worth a little more. I want to keep doing things for her. And so if you keep asking and you're giving him direction on what to do, then his life gets even easier. Then he gets his appreciation. And this is wonderful for the woman, because women that are going to work, taking care of kids, whatever they're doing, that's a lot. And women love support. And wouldn't it be nice to put your feet up every once in a while? Like, obviously a woman can take off her own jacket. She can get her own sugar. But imagine how cool it would be to put your feet up and let him go get the sugar. And now when he comes back, like a little puppy, he gets his appreciation. You give him the pat on the head, like, you did a great job. Thanks for getting me the sugar. He feels good, more connected to you. He feels like he has a role. You feel supported. You're like, wow, this is fantastic. Someone's actually doing something for me, instead of, I'm making peanut butter and jelly for the kids, getting them bananas, getting them on the bus and doing all these things, and then going to work and having people yell at me. No, finally someone's taking care of me. Mm-hmm. So that's needed, appreciated. Before I keep moving, any questions, comments?
Nope. Perfect.
You're loving it.
I am. I'm taking mental notes.
And then the big one, acceptance. Men, we very rarely feel accepted. Like, think about when we were dating as teenagers, and a lot of our lessons stay with us as teenagers, right? Supposedly we don't learn anything after 18. I don't know if that's true, but think about what you were dating at 16. You'd go, all right, I have eyeballs. That woman's hot. I'm going to date her. That's pretty much every man. We had no capacity to understand there was anything more important than looks at that age. I'm being a little bit facetious, but all right. So we're dating clearly the wrong person for us, because we have no clue what we're looking for. We don't even know who we are. And then that woman, or girl at that age, is like, he doesn't fit my mold either. All these things are driving me crazy. I'm going to change him. And she doesn't know that men don't change, because she's 16, you're 16 or 18 or whatever age you're dating at. It's like, I'm going to change him. So he goes, well, I don't want to change. And then you guys, butt heads and eventually break up. And that happens into our 20s for a while. And then hopefully we smarten up and realize we can't change each other. So finally, when you date someone, and this may be in your 30s, this may be in your 60s, who knows when everyone's ready for this. But finally, we're realizing we can't change people. And now a woman shows up and fully accepts you.
Mm-hmm.
And even the things that you do that are gross, and all men do something gross, or we have some weird idiosyncrasy, but she
Mm-hmm.
shows up and goes, he's doing 10 amazing things, and that one negative thing, we're going to let it slide.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's doing these 10 things. You know, he's taking me on the dates. He's showing up on the phone calls. He's, you know, trying to make me feel special. He's emotionally there for me when I need him. He listens to me. He's attentive. He has great sex with me. So then when he does his weird thing, cool. He's good in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So when he finally feels that, like, hey, I'm going to be myself, he's just going to light up like a Christmas tree to be around you. Because we don't get that very often. Not very often at all. So needed, appreciated, accepted. We're nabbing them. Any questions before we go to B?
I know. I love this. Let's go to B.
Let's go to B. Final one is boundaries. Oh, nothing is sexier than a woman with boundaries, Mia. Boundaries is giving a man a roadmap to how to make you happy. So he is craving, most men are craving appreciation from you and adoration from you. And they want to feel like, man, like this woman like cherishes me and thinks like, and worships me and thinks I'm amazing. Like if a man feels like, if Mia's looking at me, once again, hypothetical Mia is looking at me and going, Mike is a god and I will see him like that for the next 100 years. And there's nothing in this world that will ever change that. When I'm feeling that from Mia, that's when I get on one knee because I know she thinks I'm a god and I'm going to stay that way in her brain. Obviously, I'm not a god, but she thinks that I'm getting married to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so because a man fears that you're going to fall out of love, fall out of thinking he's a god. But if you can convince him like, hey, you're a god forever, and you do that by telling him what you need and then appreciating him.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't do it by nagging. So let me show you how you do this. Let's say your guy, who's a great guy, just, you know, he's working a lot. You got your guy that's got a good paycheck and he's not showing up calling you enough to check in or even take you on dates. You say, hey, Mike, we have the most amazing relationship on the planet and I absolutely adore you. You'd make me so happy if you'd call me a little more often just to say hello, even if it's for 5 minutes. You'd be so amazing. And once again, our relationship is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling him he's fantastic and you're telling him you'd love to hear from him. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now when he, you know, that's your boundary. You need more phone calls and we're not nagging at him. We're not saying, hey, if you don't call me more, I'm out of here, which in fact probably is the reality, but we're not saying it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So then he calls you and the first thing you do is you give him your appreciation, the second part of NAB, and you go, oh, Mike, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling me. And he's just like, holy crap. All I had to do was like press the name Mia. I called her and I got this kind of appreciation.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of woman I could spend my life with. Cause like these little things that are so easy, she makes me feel like I'm the god again.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting closer to a man that wants to commit forever. A man that feels safe, that you're never going to feel, you know, distance from him. And
I love that. It's really a it's like, for me, it's like you broke the puzzle. I've been asking this question for so long and nobody's had it worked out that way to say, you know, to a woman, this is all you have to do. This is really, you know, all you have to do, Mike, is put that, and you're so amazing, put that in a book and sell it. Just those 4 steps written out and it'll be perfect. It'll be the, you know, get on the top seller list of the New York Times. Literally, this is what I think what women, you know, the complexity of the relationship, you know, and I say that because men always think we're so complex, you know, but for us, it was like that blind spot. How do I get for him to cherish me? So thank you. I appreciate that. I love to know all these little nuances that not even if I am married. And even though I'm married again, I like to know this stuff because out in the dating world before, I'm just like every other woman. I still wonder, even though I'm a coach and I teach love and all this stuff, I have emotions and feelings too. And so we wonder where we made a mistake. And when you're saying that, I can see where I did it right with, with my husband, obviously. So thank you.
Hey,
Okay.
we're all professionals falling on our faces secretly that we don't make public, so it's fine. But on a good note, even when you're married, we never stop dating. We're always having fun, so you can always use
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And that's beautiful too. Yes, thank you. You know what, I'm thinking about the layers as you're telling me, okay, now in between, if you have questions, ask me. I'm like, no, okay, I got that one. Okay, I got that one. But really it is beautiful because if we use this as women, even as we go along, you're right. What would it do? It just sweeten the honey pot, right? Just sweeten the honey pot. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. Sweeten the honey pot.
That's right. Thank you. So, what gift do you have for us? You have a great gift, and you're so knowledgeable. I love this. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for the compliment. See, she's learning. She gave me appreciation. Now I'm lighting up. I'm like ready to give more, and she's cutting me off, but we're good. My free gift is how men fall in love. Everyone go get your hands on this thing. It's short. I think it's like anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. It's a YouTube video. It's
Awesome.
got rave reviews. I think it's got somewhere between 10 and 20,000 views at this point.
Wow.
So many likes. So many people love it. It's pretty simple stuff, but it's very valuable. I've tested this across speaking to a few thousand men and making sure it works for 97.5% plus. Everything I execute on, I test, and it's got to have a high level of success or I get rid of it or tweak it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this one's tried, true, and tested, been using it for years. So get your hands on it.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's wonderful. What would you like to leave us with? One last thought from your heart or your mind. You've given us so much, and this has been fun. But is there something you want to specifically tell the woman? Look, now I'm gonna let you do it. You choose what you'd like to share.
Yes. I just want to like reiterate the thing on boundaries because so many women talk to me. They're like, I don't want to nag a guy. I don't want to be a pain in the butt. And I love all of you for having that mindset because that means you care how he feels about you.
Mm-hmm.
But you will do so much better. He will do so much better in the relationship when you tell him, hey, you're fabulous. Can you do X? You'd make me so happy if you did X.
Mm-hmm.
Try this formula out. See how your relationship goes. I promise you, you will stop having relationships that end after 5 dates, after 1 year, after 3 years, or after 10 years because you build up resentment.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a mind reader. I know, trust me, I know, I talk to thousands of women. I know you want him to know that he needs to take you out to dinner, get you flowers, and make you feel special and all these things. He's going to mess it up. Help him out, and your relationship will be better. And then just appreciate him when he does stuff. And you will see he will actually start doing stuff on his own sometimes. And you can say like, hey, you make me so happy if occasionally maybe you got me flowers or occasionally you wrote me a love note or whatever your love language is. He will get better over time. But just start training him. He's like a little puppy. We need to train him. And I'm okay. When in my relationships, I tell them about this stuff and it works on me and I know they're doing it because it's my stuff. It works.
Yeah. I love that he's a puppy. We love puppies. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Got to train our puppy.
That's right. We have to love our puppy. Thank you so much. This was not only informational, but also fun too. It was great to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Mia.
Yes. And thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Make Love Real. And we'll see you in another one. Bye.